Hello and welcome to another episode. Today we're diving into a situation that is intensified by the day, the escalating conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. In what has been described as the most significant military escalation since 2006, Israel has ramped up its year-long conflict with Hezbollah, launching a series of intense bombing campaigns in southern Lebanon and signaling the possibility of a ground invasion. This is a critical juncture with world powers scrambling to secure a temporary ceasefire to avoid a wider regional war that could draw in Iran, the US, and probably other actors. So, what's really at stake here? How did we get to this point, and where could this lead? Let's break it down. On the September 25th, Israel Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, made a powerful statement to his troops, suggesting that the recent airstrikes in Lebanon were preparing the ground for a possible entry by Israel forces. These remarks signal that a ground invasion of Lebanon is no longer just a distant possibility, but is now imminent. The conflict took a sharp turn on the same day when Hezbollah launched a long-range missile at Tel Aviv in retaliation for Israel's strikes. These strikes have been deadly. Israel's attacks across Lebanon have claimed around 600 lives, according to the Lebanese Health Ministry. This comes after one of Israel's most devastating assaults on Hezbollah since the 2006 war, where multiple rocket sites were targeted and at least 16 elite Hezbollah commanders were killed in a strike just outside southern Beirut. But this isn't just about military retaliation. There are much deeper vulnerabilities at play here. While Israel has achieved a string of intelligent victories, Hezbollah still possesses a formidable missile arsenal, and its rockets have the range to hit major Israeli population centers like Haifa, Netanya, and even Tel Aviv. This puts tremendous pressure on Israel's air defenses and could shift the tide of public opinion. Hezbollah targets, according to sources, may not just be military but also economic. One key target could be Israel's Haifa refinery, which processes 197,000 barrels of oil per day. With the Escalating oil port already closed due to the Gaza conflict and the Red Sea's Iliad terminal damaged after months of Houthi missile attacks, a strike on Haifa could be devastating. The economic and energy implications will ripple across the region, impacting oil markets and energy security. On top of that, Israel's natural gas output has already taken a hit. After the October 7 Hamas attack, Chevron suspended production at the Tamar gas field, which feeds into Egypt's gas pipeline network. So beyond the military concerns, Israel is also facing serious economic challenges as this war escalates. So why is Israel willing to escalate the conflict with Hezbollah now, despite these vulnerabilities? Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu seems to believe that a short, decisive military offensive could change Israel's security reality, despite past failures in Lebanon. Netanyahu had made it clear that he wants to impose an intolerable cost on Hezbollah, ensuring that the militant group is no longer capable of launching large-scale attacks on Israeli civilians. Hezbollah, however, appears ready for a fight, and the group's fighters are battle-hardened from years of conflict in Syria, and they have a significant missile stockpile that could then turn a ground war into a bloody, prolonged conflict. Israel's forces may be stretched thin after months of war in Gaza and a ground offensive in Lebanon, a terrain Hezbollah knows intimately, will be a major test for Israeli troops. Still, Israel's support for military action may hold. As former Israel Deputy National Security Advisor Chuck Frelich has pointed out, military campaigns often rally domestic support especially in existential fights. Following the trauma of the October 7 attack by Hamas, Israelis may feel they have no choice but to back the government's military strategy. Now let's zoom out and look at the global picture. The timing of this escalation is critical. The US is just weeks away from a presidential election, and Washington seems unable to prevent a looming ground invasion despite providing $12.5 billion in military aid to Israel since the Gaza war began. Netanyahu's calculation may be that neither Republicans nor Democrats will withhold political or military support for Israel in the final stretch of the campaign, especially in a key battleground state. Israeli policymakers are aware that the US doesn't want a major war with heavy casualties, especially during an election year. But as Brandon Friedman from Tel Aviv's Moshe Dayan Center puts, Israel is climbing the escalation ladder, hoping that Hezbollah and Iran will choose to back down before a ground invasion is necessary. However, others argue that the ground offensive may be unavoidable if Israel is serious about neutralizing Hezbollah threats in the north. So where does this leave us? What are the potential outcomes of this confrontation? Any ground incursion into a southern Lebanon will carry significant risk for Israel. History shows us that previous attempts to create buffer zones, like the 1982 invasion of Lebanon, often spiral out of control. The invasion of 1982 slowly pulled Israel into Lebanon's brutal civil war, and its control over the South Lebanon army ended in a costly withdrawal by 2000. This time, the stakes may be even higher. Hezbollah is stronger and better equipped than it was in 2006, and Iran's involvement looms large in the background. Meanwhile, Israel's key objective, pushing Hezbollah north of the Litani River, could trigger a broader regional conflict, drawing in Iran, pro-Iranian militants from Iraq, and potentially even the US. Washington, despite its leverage, has so far been unable to push for a diplomatic solution. The Israeli government seems willing to pay the price of war, believing that the potential long-term gains in security justify the risks. But as Freilich notes, in the end, there has to be a diplomatic off-ramp for both sides. The question is, how far will both sides go before that off-ramp appears? To wrap up, we are standing on the edge of a major escalation in the Middle East, one that could reshape the region for years to come. While Israel aims to crush Hezbollah, military capabilities, and insecure its northern borders, Hezbollah is ready for a fight on its home turf. The risks are high, not just Israel and Lebanon, but for the entire region. As we watch these events unfold, it's clear that military victories alone may not be enough to end this conflict. A diplomatic solution, though elusive, is ultimately the only sustainable path to peace. If you found today's discussion insightful, please share the episode and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on global events. As always, stay informed and stay engaged.